Badamasi, memu bo se memu. Aibuki, memu bo se memu. We'll be singing for them. And because I grew up beating talking drums. As a young boy, I beat all these talking drums. Then somebody will go and bring this 4-corner drum. When he's beating his own, I'm beating the talking drum for them. Their head will swell. And their lives was going down the drain. And today, many of them never recover from it. And God recovered people like us. He saved us. He forgave us. And we enter into His rest. But many of them have not recovered it today. There will be a day you will render accounts for everything you do today. In those days, people will say, be careful. There's time for everything. This is not the time to be funny with boys, with girls. There are some of my classmates, they started having sex as far as when we were in secondary school. Some of them have died. Some of them have no home. Youthfulness is a phase. When you mismanage that phase, you pay dearly for it in future. Verse 10 for us. Ecclesiastes 11 verse 10. Therefore, remove sorrow from thy heart and put away evil from thy flesh. For childhood and youth are vanity. Can you give us this translation in Amplified Classic or Message? I want us to understand how critical. Live footloose and fancy free. Live footloose and fancy free. Give us Amplified Classic. Or easy to read Bible. It's not there. Do you know that in those days, we all have styles of walking. You will bend yourself like this. You will do like this. Some people have not recovered from that till today. They are permanently damaged. He said, therefore, remove the lust that end in sorrow and vexation from your heart and mind, and put away evil from your body. For youth and the dawn of life are vanity, transitory. That is a passing phase. Haidu, it can be managed carelessly. Empty, it has little or no substance, and devoid of truth. Now, what is the truth? In me, as a young man, I'm walking like this. Is there any truth there? It is the highest level of folly. What is the truth? Every morning, before you go for lecture, you have some shots. You just take shinap. One shot every morning before you go to. Let me ask you, how many people who have gone in that direction make it in life? He said, the future is coming. It is your responsibility to prepare for that future now. If you don't want to be sorrowful, if you don't want your life to be corrupted and destroyed, it is your responsibility to do it now. Nobody will do it for you. Nobody. It is your responsibility. And he went on to say that childhood and youth are vanity. You know, when I was looking at Tolu and Joshua, you know what comes to my mind? My picture in my house, when my hair is like that. My own, it will coil at the center like this, as if I did Jerry coil. And in those days, I will rub Vaseline very well. But is it there again? No, Joshua, is it there? Tolu, is it there? It's gone. And it may never come back again. And God is saying to us, this time is the best time for your preparation into adulthood, into womanhood, into manhood. And if you fail at the point of preparation, you'll be a failure at the point of delivery. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Whatsoever some of us are doing today, we have been doing it for years, almost 30-something or 40 years now. A woman came into the church today, that woman that sat at the back there. As soon as she came in, I looked at that face, I said, I know this woman. And I began to think. She also looked at me. She was saying, it seems I know you, sir. And I was trying to recount and recollect where I knew her. But by the time we were concluding service, and she said, you went to UI. I remember I was their visitation secretary for 2 years in Baptist Student Fellowship in UI. So I visited all of them. Some of you are here. You have been a bench warmer for years. You are also preparing for a future of idleness. Leadership does not come by a sudden effort. It's a gradual process. And we are going to go into it and show you how it is. A man who refused to become responsible as a youth cannot suddenly wake up and become responsible as an adult. So the issue of responsibility starts from when you are a youth. We are going to look at the life of Joseph in the scripture. How old was Joseph when he left home? 17 years. Is there anybody who is 17 years here? No, I don't think so. Look around very well. There's no 17 years old here. We may start from 18 or thereabout. Except maybe my sister that is at the back there. Inni Christy and the other lady there. You see, the simple truth about some of these things is that recognize this fish that it will not endure. You can't be a student 2 times. You can't be a youth corper 2 times. As a youth corper, we did terrible things. I served in Bauchi, 1986, when allowance was 200 naira. NYC Alawi, 200 naira. We will get there. With that 200 naira, I saved 720 naira, which I used to pay for my master's program in UI. Some of you are here. Your account is empty. No savings. But do you know that all those women and all those men that are selling all kinds of small things on the street, they have more financial intelligence than many of you who went to university? We are getting there. Do you see a bike man or a bike woman who will park in front of their shop every day? They will contribute, save 20 naira, 50 naira. Have you seen such people? How many of you with your education have savings? Those people that you thought are non-entities on the street, they are more financially intelligent than many people who went to school. And at the end of the year, this 20 naira, this 50 naira they contributed and they filled the card. It will amount to something at the end of the year. But many people went to the university have nothing as savings. It's financial foolishness. And they wait for somebody to come and finance their foolishness after some time. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 from verse 1. Technical unit, can you give us? Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 1. He said, remember now thy Creator. It's not tomorrow. You must work consciously that if this life ends today, I have eternity with God. Are you getting what I'm saying? It's not that, no, you know. I know. I'm conscious of every day how I live my life. I walk with the consciousness of the Father. It can end any day. But I also have the faith that I'm not going until I finish my assignment. And according to His word, with long life, He will satisfy me. I'm not going until I'm satisfied. So it's not something you postpone. He said, remember now, not tomorrow, thy Creator. In the days of thy youth. Now is the time to remember this God and serve Him with all your heart. He said, why the evil days come not? Every one of us, if you will grow to behold, you will pass through the face of the evil days. My own mother is above 90. I visited her with my wife some time ago. And we were with her till late in the night. And we left to the guest house where we were sleeping that night. And when my junior brother came later that night, my own mother was asking my junior brother, Ipe, this your brother who is in Ogbomoso, I have not seen him for a while. But I was with her. Memory is now failing her. And before we left the following day for Ogbomoso, I told my wife we have to go back home. And as soon as I enter, Grandma, I am here. Call her 10 times. Phone has become useless to her. She doesn't even know where to touch again to answer a call. This phone that some of you cherish as if your life depends on it, a time will come you will drop it. If my mother will have to come to church, she has to be assisted. Are you getting what I'm saying? When I see people building duplex now, I pity them. Because if my mother comes to Gomoso now, we will assist her to climb to my house. We will all get there if Christ tarries. Have you seen old people? They want to eat kuli, they desire it, but there is no teeth. So you see somebody soaking it in water small to soften it. All those things you are cracking with your teeth. Now, a time will come, it becomes a problem. Some of you drink 2-3 bottles of Coke every day. It's a preparation for a damaged health. In some few years to come, you will look back, you will regret if you don't stop. Some of you can't drink tea until you put 4-5 cubes there. In some few years to come, when your bones are already wrecked, you will ask yourself, why did I do this to myself? So, it's a period of preparation for a better or a gloomy future. He said, why the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. All those sexual urge that is doing you giri now, a time will come. Even if they bring a woman to you as a man, you will not be able to do anything. Today is Man U. You can leave your academics and go and sit down with recruits there and be watching Man U and Chelsea and be shouting. A time will come. Even you can't remember what Man U is or what Chelsea is. So what you do with what you have now is very important. As a very young, tender person in secondary school, I can play lawn tennis from morning till night. But when I stepped into the university, I was learning keyboard for a season. But when academics came into it, I must make a choice. And I advise you today, make a choice. Nobody is going to make that choice for you. You are going to make that choice. Immediately academics comes in, I knew that I can't afford to fail. I can't afford to cheat in the exam hall. Then I made up my mind to face my academics and to serve God with all my heart. The next time you see me playing lawn tennis was the day I defended my master's degree. I was just coming out from the hall. After UI have awarded me master's degree. And I saw them playing lawn tennis. I just walked into the court. I said, give me the racket, man. And I played until I was fainting that day. I left the court around to 7. And I went to the hall to go and bath and sleep. Many of you, your priorities are not correct. And I'm saying it with every sense of responsibility. You have a 4-year program or 5-year program. You are getting engaged at 100 level. You are a stupid fellow. You burn emotions for 5, 6, 7 years. And at the end of the day, when that man go for youth service or you go for youth service, your eyes now open. And you begin to realize that, have I done the right thing? Have I done the wrong thing? Some of you, it is that relationship that is affecting your academics. Some of you can manage 2 things together. But you are there. You are chasing one boy up and down. Let me tell you with all sincerity, I know where I'm coming from. I saw my parents going to borrow money to pay my school fees. And I made up my mind, Lord, if you are alive, if you are ready to help me, let me face my life squarely from the beginning and do away with poverty for the rest of my life. My mother was very terrible when it comes to discipline. Anybody who has seen my mother before, she's very huge and well-fed. If you come with a bad result, you know you will take terrible beating in the house. As heavy as she was that time, when it is night, after all the doors are locked, my mom will bring a cane. He said, Bola Gunte, come out. Bàbá rẹ̀ ń jìyà ní US. Níbi títí ń ṣiṣẹ́ tó ń fowó ránṣẹ́. To sì lọ school, ìwọ ń ṣe ìranù. Wo ìtàn mi yìí, look at my tie. If I die today, you can't carry it. Before you say you will not hear, èmi àjọ wọ ṣòkòtò kan náà. Once cane begin to fall like that, she has grabbed your 2 hands. Use a tie like this to tighten you together. Lie down. She will sit on you with her weight. He said, Koto sọ pé ọ̀pá mi, èmi ní kọ́kọ́ yanjú ẹ̀. It was as serious as that. And what surprised me when I was in Form 4, That time there was a riot in my school. I didn't know anything about it. I don't even know what was happening. But they sent all of us away. And when they sent all of us away, we didn't know when we are going to resume back. 1 month. My mother wrote my father that our school was closed down due to riots. My father said, come. Me, I'm languishing in the cold in US. Schooling and raising money for these children. If they decide to call them back as my wife, don't go there and sign any undertaking. When the letter came, my mother gave the letter to Missouri. I was trying to explain to my mother, I didn't even know anything. He said, it's okay. When after 3 months they call us back, you know my mother refused blatantly to follow me. I hired a deacon in the church who went and signed an undertaking. I can't forget the language my father used. He said, it's an affront to my dignity for you, my wife, to go and sign an undertaking for a son who decided to be a fool. Right from that day, as I was going to higher institution, I knew that I have no support at home. If anything should go wrong. Many of you, before anything happens, your parents have appeared. They are indulging you to destruction. They are indulging you to destruction. Get hold of yourself. It's your life. There were some young children that passed through my house. One day I was speaking with them one by one, warning them to face their studies. That these guys, this gayoyo that you are doing will not endure. You know they didn't take me serious. But 1 or 2 of them took me serious. On the way back to Mina or Jos, the mother of one died in an accident. And when they came to inform him, Benjamin, your mother has passed on. You are going to Mina for burial. Is it Mina or Jos? When he came back, I sat down with him. You have lost your mother. If you will sit down and face your own life now, whatsoever is the loss now, you will gain in the future. He has gained it. He has gained it. But there was another one. When he was coming to my house, because the father was rich, he will open his shirt like this, throw out his chest, come home with package shirts, brand new. His career almost died in his very hand. He got involved with drug. He got involved with smoking. At the end of the day, by the time he was finishing, I think he made third class or ordinary pass. Today, is a shadow of his former self. What will you advise him to go into? He's just moving all over the place. Why the evil days come not? Take heart. Take heart. Be strong and courageous and accept responsibility for your life. Don't blame your parent or anybody for anything. Don't. Some of you, my uncle didn't give me money, so she says, oh, uncle. This sense of entitlement, we must do away with it so that our life can take the right course. Let me go to the next aspect because of our time. How do we develop proper leadership skills? Developing proper leadership skills is rooted in rendering appropriate, willing and effective and productive services as a lifestyle. Just make up your mind without anybody forcing you. You are going to serve men. And as you serve men, you serve God. And as you serve God, you serve men. I want us to look at Genesis 37 verse 2. Genesis 37 verse 2. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. I would want us to deal with two things there. At 17, he was involved in his parents' business. His father was a livestock farmer. When every other person is going to the field, he followed them. I have seen so many young people who inherited the business of their father, improved upon it, and became multimillionaire at a very tender age. Do you know that there are things we overlook? The person who produced my books, I met him 2005 as a youth corper. I was invited to preach at their state convention. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me. He said, tell some of these people who have packed their things, going back to their various states. It was their last convention. That God is saying, some of you will not have a job, government job. But your father has a business that you must take your cue from and build up for a glorious future. And it happened to be one of them. The father was a printer. And he went there. You know all this typing of those days. Typesetting. He brought his computer into it. He learned how to do graphics. Before you know it, he started producing posters for politicians. Before you know it, all the redeemed posters in Abia State, he became the producer. He started producing books. He will do all the typesetting or all the design, take it to Lagos, pay for it. He became a regular customer of Abia Line. So he will just send it to them online. They will produce it in Lagos and they will ship it back to Abia for him. When we are looking for somebody who will produce our convocation brochure, he was recommended. And I saw the voucher where he was paid about 890,000, almost 1 million for just one job. And because I was there, nobody could ask for bribe from him. He knocked the first 1 million as a young man of just 20-something. Then there was another person who graduated from LabTech who read animal science. He never did anything printing. He has the best printing setup in Abia. When he has raised so much money, he first relocated his wife to US. Before you know it, he followed suit. Now he's into serious printing business in US. But he read animal science here. This man started walking alongside with his father. He was feeding the flock like any other person. There are some of you here. Nobody can send you on an errand. Even your mother, you carry face like this. Your father can send you on an errand and you willingly give yourself to it. Prepare a great future for yourself by getting involved in serving people. There is somebody that I know very well. He will help me to wash my car. And a day came. I got angry inside of my spirit because he's a graduate. And I said, God, how can this young man be washing my car? If my children comes around, I can easily call it, please, can you help me pick my children from the airport? Some of our friends, We call him. We are going for wedding, he will drive. And we are going for this, he will drive. He made himself available in service. That's where leadership comes. And one day, people gathered and said, no, this young man that is doing this, we must raise money for him to go for further education and send him abroad. Why am I saying all this? Leadership is progressive. If you cannot serve your parents at home, some of you men, you can't cook. They said, please, in Kuti Hall in those days in UI, you know, we were allowed to cook. They have this small cylinder where the people cook. Somebody want to fry plantain, somebody want to fry egg. He pour oil, he put plantain, he put egg, he covered it, and he left to go and bath. What do you think will be the result? He has never cooked in his life. But situation and circumstances now force him to cook. Some of you are here, you brag, I'm a man. What is a man doing in the kitchen? You are preparing for a failed future. If nobody tells you, let me tell you. This service is what brings you into place of leadership. Faithfulness at the point of starting on a small level. And you are committed to it faithfully. You know what is right. You know the genuine from false, the perfect from imperfect. It's building your integrity into the future. Look at the last sentence here. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil reports. Joseph started working in integrity right from the beginning when he was just 17 years old. Some of you are here. Do you know why oftentimes when I see a lot of young students now, you know, I've been working in the midst of students for almost 40 years now, both as a student and 28 years as a lecturer. Every day under the tree, you see brethren join hands. They are speaking in tongues, they are praying, they are shouting. When it is exam season, and I come in as the supervisor, you now see students cheating. Christian students. If you cannot prepare your work in integrity as a young folk and say others can do this, I cannot. When you grow up into leadership, you will compromise leadership. So the earlier you begin to separate yourself from every ungodliness, the better for you. The Bible says, and Joseph brought unto his father their evil reports. How many of you will enter into exam hall and people will say, Sister Lighton, help me pass this to this, and you will say, no, I don't do it. As a supervisor, I've seen people who will write ladies on their tie like this. Write on their ties and come to exam hall. Maybe I'm speaking about you now. Have you seen a man, this kind of cap? He will put on a cap like this. Under the cap, inside the cap, are small papers. When you have not learned to work integrity into leadership, as a young man, as a young woman, every time you compromise, every time you compromise, every time you compromise, a time will come you'll get used to it. And your leadership will not speak integrity. We learned that this man starts serving from home. If you are not helping your parents to do anything, go back home and start. That's where it began. That's where it began. I could be very difficult when it comes to issue of discipline. My children were just 5, 6, 7 years of age. Oh, to zinc. Oh, yeah, go and carry that stool and stand on the stool, wash your plate. Your mother is not a slave in this house. Go and do this. Go and stay there. My son will go to school that time. He will lose one of the shoes or the two. Because he will use one as goalpost here. One as goalpost here. Is Tolu by name. His school uniform will be so dirty. I told my wife, don't wash it. When you come back, sit down. Ebomisino, plastic. Give him soap. Wash it. Do you know that after he has done it for about 2-3 weeks, his attitude changed. When he comes back from school, he said, Daddy, look at my shirt. Look at my shirt. I can still wear it tomorrow. That's where leadership and discipline starts from. That's where it starts from. And the truth about it is this. If you don't start from the way Joseph started, at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. Most of the crises a lot of people have in marriage today is because their husbands are useless and irresponsible. How will you succeed to provide leadership at home when you don't know how to do anything? It is very important that every one of us will get used to this. Another thing that we need to look at is this. Genesis 39 verse 1 to 6. Genesis chapter 39. He first served his parents. He served at the home front. But now he has graduated. Genesis chapter 39. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, and the Egyptian bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. Verse 2. And the Lord was with Joseph. Let me tell you with all sincerity, in the path to life, into the path to leadership, you must company with God. Many of you, they begged you, come for fellowship, come for this. Some of you, you come for meeting 1 hour after it has started. Let me tell you, when people grow in discipline, it doesn't go away easily. And he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. Now he has a master who is not his parents. Some of you are here. We said, come, bring your results at the end of every semester. Some people will put their hands in the pocket. Is Professor Ojewola my father? Is he the one paying my school fees? No! He's not the one. But let me tell you with all sincerity, if you cannot submit to simple constituted authority that you have now, when you grow up, you'll be irresponsible. You'll be a free-range animal that is not responsible to anybody. And he said, and his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. Let people see God in you as you grow into leadership. Let men be able to perceive that this one is born again. Verse 4. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him. Who are you serving? Who are you serving? I went to a church to preach some years back. And the music leader, who happened to be somebody like Joshua, is not you. Needed money to travel from Umuahia to Lagos. And came to the house. And myself and my landlord was outside. Me, I was washing my car to go to work Monday morning. And he came. He said, Daddy, good morning. He greeted my landlord, Daddy, good morning. He carried plastic chair and he sat down. You said, that's the truth. And I finished washing my car. I didn't even look at him at all. If you cannot serve me, my money can't serve you. And I walk inside. I don't know the excuse my landlord gave to him. he left that place empty-handed. If you cannot serve people that God has put all around you, don't expect to grow into leadership. There's another person who needed money. I don't know what happened to the borehole in my house that day. My wife was fetching water from the well. And he came. He had told my wife that he needed money. Is it to pay for exam or something? And my wife was fetching water. And he stood there and he was still asking my wife for money. Do you think my wife will give him money? No. My wife gave an excuse. I don't know the excuse she gave. He went back empty-handed. Many of you are suffering today because you cannot serve anybody. Joseph served him. And he walked in integrity. Integrity at home. Integrity in another man's business. And he made him overseer over his house. And all that he had, he put into his hand. Can I trust you? Can anybody trust you? The way you are doing filenge up and down. Can anybody trust you? It takes integrity for people to commit anything to your hand. There are people who will need a car today. We want to go somewhere. I can say, Tolu, take the key and go. Because I know he will not be reckless with my car. He will not come back and be telling me the story of how the car had an accident. Let's grow to become responsible servants on the journey to becoming responsible leaders. If you have not learned how to serve, you can't become anything. If you see people who have come to church now as adults and are bench warmers, they didn't start today. They started several years back. They have been bench warmers even as a student. So nobody can commit anything to their hands because they will disappoint. They will let loose things that are very vital. They will throw it like pear that is thrown to the dogs. So don't think that all the people that are bench warmer in the church today doing nothing to advance the kingdom business. Don't think that they started as an adult. It has been there. They have been irresponsible from when they were young. If you see people who are committed to God, who are committed financially, thank you. I have one here. God bless you. That's part of service. If you see anybody now that is supposed to be an elder and an adult, who is supposed to be committed financially to the expansion of the God's kingdom, and is not, it didn't start from now. As a student, he is very stingy to God. Some of you are here. How much data do you buy? You buy data 1,000. You drink Coke 100, 150. But you come to church with 50 naira. It's an irresponsible attitude. You have money to buy data for your phone, to look at Jumia and Konga. But you cannot commit 100 naira to God as an offering. You have not learned how to pay tithe as a student. If you grow up, even if God give you 1 million, you won't pay tithe. It must start. Some people have asked me, how can you spend so much to produce this quality book and you are giving it to everybody free? It is free. It is free. There's nothing we are doing now that we didn't do as a student in UI. Yet you are here. Oftentimes you even come to church. They pass offering box in front of you. You just do like this and they pass. Let me tell you, the Bible cannot be broken. It said, he that is faithful in little. Your unfaithfulness will bring poverty to you. That's why I'm warning you tonight. All those things. Let me tell you with all sincerity.